I had gotten to a stage a couple of weeks ago where I was starting to think that I had nothing further to add to my talk about hair and how I felt about it. And was thinking, what video can I possibly put up? I'm not really sure what I have to say. And then something amazing happened, which was such a surprise. Took me totally by surprise because we were so far from home and we were looking at Salisbury Cathedral, Steve and I. And we were in the canteen. Stephen said he wanted to go and look at the Magna Carta. And as he was walking away, just out of my reach, this lady came up to me. And I looked up and I remember thinking, oh, she's a very nice looking lady. I wonder what she could be wanting to speak to me about. And she said, I really hope you don't mind me coming up to you like this, but I recognize you from your YouTube channel, and I just really wanted to come and say hi. I looked up into her face and I looked at her hair and I thought to myself, wow, why is she watching my YouTube channel, which is about hair wearing? She's got lovely hair. Well, it was only later when I invited her to sit down and we sat down and had a really long chat that she informed me that she was actually wearing a topper. And that was the first time in my entire life where I'd come across somebody and actually looked at their hair, their, helper hair, not realizing that it was helper hair. I explained to this lady that I had never met another person, another woman who wore hair like I did, who had hair loss and actually wore hair. You ladies know that I very often see women with hair loss when I'm out and about. I mean, I'm just driving back from town now and I saw lots of women with hair loss. Not only have they got menopause, their age, and their hormones working against them as far as hair. But ladies, the last few years, since 2020, what we've all been through, the lockdowns, the illnesses, the problems, the fears, the worries, have really taken their toll on people. The change in lifestyle, what we used to take for granted and do on a daily basis. We used to look to the future and confidently make plans about things. All of that kind of thinking has been flipped up onto its head. Well, the long and the short of it is that I personally have noticed that more women than ever are suffering with hair loss. And this lady that I spoke to thanked me for the effort that I had made, and she told me that my videos had helped her. And it was music to my ears to think that even if it was just one person who had a boost in confidence, looked at themselves differently, had hope for how they could look, maybe even were encouraged to buy their first piece, be it a topper or a full wig, and to try it on and relish the beauty and the youthfulness that it can lend you, the confidence that it can give you. Sure, at the end of the day you have to take it off. That's always a sad thing. But I am able to go out to my town looking like this. If you follow me on Instagram or you watch the reviews of these toppers that I'm currently making, you'll see that it's a huge difference, a huge improvement to what I was relegated to going out looking like. My hair has become finer and thinner than ever. And I don't hold out much hope that it's going to significantly improve. If there was a magic wand that made my hair much thicker, I would be very pleased. But I wouldn't stop wearing hair, because wearing hair has become a source of real pleasure for me. Creativity, excitement. And to say that Steve is as involved as I am is not really an overstatement. Many women fear what their husband or partner might say about it. It's been my experience that the ladies round about my age who I have spoken to about it have all told me how supportive their husband has been. Men seem to understand very clearly that female hair loss is not the be-all and end-all, and they view us as so much more than how thick our hair is. And when our hair starts to thin and fall out, sometimes completely, I have noticed that men don't tend to walk away. And I'm not saying that every man is like that. I'm sure that there are some men who find it difficult to handle. I've not come across them. But I've always been so pleasantly surprised and reassured at how upstanding most men are, especially when it comes to things like this. So here we are, making another video, pushing myself to keep going, to keep offering up my story, being vulnerable, really. Hi guys, I've just come back from work. This is me now at work. I wear my Savannah topper. I wear a hairband if I need to keep my hair away from my face. Not necessarily this one. My work one is downstairs, but it keeps my hair away from my face. I mean, it is a long piece and everybody's very used to seeing me in it now at work. But look at the way I'm sweating. It's incredibly hot at the moment. And wanted to talk about how I've made this Savannah topper work, because this topper does not have any lace front at all. And I've had to remove the comb. I've got a few thoughts about the Savannah topper which I'll insert here. I really can't deny that I've fallen quite in love with this topper, this Savannah topper. You know, I've done the reviews and she's absolutely wonderful and I just can't let her go. I asked Uniwigs if I could keep her, you know, for a reduced cost, because I really like her that much. Ideally with the Savannah topper, she's got this comb, hasn't she, sewn into the front of her, and the idea is that you put her slightly further back, you slip her into your existing hair, and then you put the hair right at the front of your head over the front of Savannah, you see. Absolutely no lace front, you know. So you blend your own hair with Savannah. Now that's something I can't do. I'm not sure that I'm ever going to be able to do this again. So I thought, let's take the comb off, because I was actually putting the tape on the comb. She was raised up a few, maybe 2 millimeters. Now I've put the tape in, and that tape is going straight onto the silk top. The silk top, as you saw, has got a liner, so the tape is sticking to the liner, so that the actual scalp-like silk top is protected. I don't actually curl her every time I wear her, and often I just will do the front pieces. The beauty of toppers, eh? The beauty of toppers, they just blend in with your hair so very seamlessly. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's lying much more flat. If we lift this hair up, it's much flatter. There was maybe 1 or 2 millimeter gap there. You couldn't really see it because this hair was laying over the front of it. But I knew it was there, and I much prefer to have Savannah laying as flat as she is now. I think I'm going to have a little bit of a red today, just to brighten up. Just to brighten up my face somewhat. I'm going to go to the shops now. There's something that I really love to do on a Saturday morning or a bank holiday Monday like today. There's nothing I love more than getting up, getting ready, getting my little string bag ready, just browsing through the charity shops on the high street. I have a real love for vintage things in the house. I buy secondhand furniture. I love that it's a mellow vibe. New furniture is great, and I also have some new furniture, but my most favourite furniture has always been that secondhand furniture. Often I get vintage or antique, and I love it. So I'm going to go and see what they've got specifically for kitchenware, little interesting saucers to put under my house plants, stuff like that. It's a very nice meditative time for me. I put on a podcast or some music on my headphones. I'm in my own world. Often I'll wear my sunglasses. I don't really want to be too distracted by other people and what's happening. I'm very happy to be in my own little world. It's a little bit like doing the ironing. You're on automatic pilot. You're doing the ironing. It's nice and rhythmical. You can let your brain drift off. It doesn't need a lot of thinking. And that's the same feeling I get when I'm browsing through shops. Little knickknacks, little vintage stuff. I often wonder where those pieces have come from, what the people's homes were like, what their lives were like. Yeah, it's definitely a meditation. And the bonus is I don't spend too much money, and I come back and I've got nice new things to put in my house. So yeah, I hope you can agree with me that Savannah looks better. She feels more comfortable, although she wasn't uncomfortable before. But I think if you have got good amount of hair at the front of your head, and you want something that is really very seamless, and you're lucky enough to be able to put your own hair over the front, so that when people look at you, like here on the side, you'd have this business going on at the front so that they could see your natural hairline, and there's no way they're going to think that you've got a hairpiece on in any way. However, even though I don't have that, I still think, actually, she's pretty fantastic. I never mind looking down in front of somebody because I feel that the silk top is incredibly natural. And I really wanted to share that with you because I think it's a very important point about the kind of base that you get for the topper that you're going to go for. There are lace front toppers, and there are non-lace front toppers. And of course, the size of the base is going to be determined by the amount of hair loss you've got. This 9 by 9 inch base is perfect for me. I feel that it doesn't separate. There's not too little hair at the back, you know, for my sparse hair to show through. So that gives me a lot of confidence. And actually, it's not just confidence. It's proper joy. It's proper excitement at the prospect of getting dressed and going out. That's something to tie in with what I was saying earlier in the car, a couple of days earlier, actually. I think that that's the essence of this channel and of my message. I want women to not dread the prospect of getting dressed up and going out, because I want them to do that with joy and confidence and not worried about it and not timid about it. Not trying to disappear into the background, but being okay with being more prominent, being seen, you know. And when your hair is good, you know that you don't have to worry about the lighting, the angle, where you're sitting, who you're talking to. You don't have to worry about them looking into your hairline, clocking your hair loss. These are unpleasant things that I don't want to be preoccupied with. Ever since I started wearing hair, I have been liberated from that. And I'm very grateful for that. If I can encourage one more person to feel that they're not alone and that somebody else understands. You know, when that lady came up to speak to me, and she was very gracious in lifting up the sides of the topper and just showing me the amount of hair loss that she was dealing with. I wasn't repulsed or disgusted or embarrassed or any of those things. I just felt a kinship, a real sisterhood with her. And it was wonderful to be able to share a really great solution, actually, that gives you so much more than just more hairs on your head. And now we're back because I specifically wanted to discuss menopause and premenopause, perimenopause in fact. I've been loving wearing my toppers in the summer. The weather is warm, but I'm also experiencing quite a lot of hot flushes and other symptoms of menopause, but really the most troublesome one for a hair wearer, I should imagine, is wearing a full cap in the heat. This is where toppers have worked very well for me. I mean, I wish that they were a little bit more breathable. Now, interestingly, this Savannah topper has got kind of a closed cap. You know, the wefts are sewn into kind of a netted closed cap. My John Renaud topper, which is a synthetic topper, does have the opening between the caps that lets the air circulate a little bit more and helps you deal with the hot flushes. I did go to my GP, my doctor, last week on Friday. I wanted to discuss her opinion about starting hormone replacement therapy, HRT. I asked her to write out a prescription. She's given me estrogen and she's given me progesterone, which has just fallen. Apparently, there is a shortage of progesterone at the moment, the natural progesterone. So I've been prescribed this synthetic one, is progestogen, and that denotes that it is a synthetic progesterone. I've been taking it since Friday, and we are Wednesday today, I think, or maybe even Tuesday. Who knows? At this stage, I've had a full day at work. It's been mayhem, but I've noticed some improvement in my hot flushes. I'm still getting them. They're not as frequent, but it's only been a few days. They're not as frequent and they're not as intense, but they're pretty intense. One of the things I love about YouTube is following a person's life journey, just their thoughts, little things that they do. I know there's some YouTube channels are like big extravaganzas, and as far as a hair channel goes, although it is called Life and Hair, I don't have endless pieces to review. But I've always maintained that wearing hair is part of life. It's part of everyday life. And I've always been interested in what wearing hair looks like and feels like on a day-to-day basis, in different situations with different people. As you know, wearing hair to work is a new experience for me, and I dare say my colleagues are kind of still getting used to it. It's done nothing but improve my work experience. I feel more confident with my clients when I'm speaking with them. A real hair topper like this gives you so much realism. It's untrue. There is no transition. It is a seamless transition between your hair and the topper on the side. Seamless. And as I said earlier, for women of a certain age experiencing hot flushes, the topper is great. When the weather starts to cool down a little bit, I will go back to full wigs. And again, my colleagues will have to get used to me in a different style. Heaven forbid, maybe even in a different colour. We'll have to wait and see what they think. Let's ease them in gently. So, if any of you have had any experiences with this HRT, if you've got positive experiences, I'd love to hear them. If you've got negative experiences, I'd love to hear them. And I specifically would like to hear from women who are thinking about starting HRT. I'm 54. I was still experiencing periods every few months. I was experiencing periods, some very light, some very heavy. It was really the discomfort of the hot flushes, the intensity of them was becoming quite unmanageable. I was sitting in front of clients in my professional image, having to suddenly start fanning myself, visually starting to perspire. And the perspiring was a sensation from the top of my head all the way down to my feet. The backs of my knees were perspiring. Around my chest area, it was all perspiring. I just thought, I've never known my legs to perspire, but they're perspiring. I just could not put up with it anymore. The other thing that was really troubling me was pain and discomfort, aches and pains in my joints. You know, getting up, sitting down was kind of a difficult thing. And I really looked at the available research, the pros and cons, but I'm very aware that sometimes you think something is fine only to discover 10 years later that actually the research was wrong. It was inaccurate. There are other medications that have been given that have caused real harms, and it's only later that we find out about them. I guess that my discomfort was so bad that I was prepared to take a gamble based on the information that I had today. There is, my understanding is that you do have a very slight increase in possibility of breast cancer, but there is more of an increase in breast cancer if you are overweight, or if you smoke and drink alcohol, or a combination of those three, if you don't take enough exercise. So I weighed up the pros and the cons, and I thought it was worth me trying it. So here I am, almost my first week on HRT, already feeling so much better. I feel a little bit more oiled. My body feels a little bit more smooth in just the way it operates, and my psyche, my mental faculties are a little bit more sharp. I'm able to focus on what somebody is saying and to contribute to a conversation more fluid. It's more fluid. It's less difficult, less clunky, less brain fog. I'm going to keep you updated on my HRT journey, and my Tupperware, not Tupperware, my Tupperware. But also a little aside, a little comment on the cost of pieces. Ladies, my mortgage has more than doubled. I think it's 2.25 times what I was paying a few months ago. And this has happened in very quick succession over the last few months. The interest rates have just been going. Yes, I'm just recording a quick video. Oh, sorry. Are you going to get the kebab? Yeah. Okay. The interest rates have just been going up. Every few weeks they've been going up. And the mortgage company simply can't wait to write me that letter telling me that, you know, a month hence, you know, the next mortgage payment is going to be so much more. I don't know if the interest rates are going to continue going up. But anyway, the long and the short of it is that a lot of my disposable income that I used to buy hair with has kind of evaporated. I was hoping to see more pieces that were on sale and clearance. That's something that I have not seen yet, because I dare say companies are holding on to their pieces and trying to get as much of a turnover for as close to full price as they can. I can understand that point of view, but how much longer are we going to be in this holding pattern? You know, only time will tell, I guess. So this is a very quick high. I want to record more. I want to bring more of my everyday life to YouTube. That's something that's always interested me with other people, and it's always something that I've been wanting to do. I find people's lives really interesting, but they're ordinary lives. They're ordinary day-to-day lives. I like to see what somebody looks like when they've just come from work, or how somebody looks and how they act when they're just going out to work. I like the frequent updates. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know if you're interested in such things. So here I am on a Wednesday or a Thursday. I think it's a Wednesday the 28th, I believe. Full day at work, lots of busy things happening, juggling too many things, really. But coming home, and my hair looks great. I feel relatively cool. My HRT is starting to kick in. And I'm still cruising those websites trying to find some good clearance deals. Now remember, we don't have the same as you do in the US. Just checking in with you guys. Hope everybody is doing well in these crazy times, and speak to you soon.